Is this the best G.I. Joe Classified Series figure ever released? Let's find out by taking a look at Nemesis Immortal.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and on today's video, we're taking a look at G.I. Joe Classified Series Nemesis Immortal, formerly known as Nemesis Enforcer. For those that have been following the channel for a while, you know that when I made a top 10 list when Classified was announced, he was at the top of my list. Absolutely have been waiting for this guy since the line started, and so happy they finally delivered. And that's why I thought, you know what, let's not just do a short. I just really want to look at this guy, show him off, have fun, talk about it, and I hope that you will enjoy that, because this is such a cool, unique, and interesting figure on top of being one of the coolest pieces in the G.I. Joe Classified series. And if you enjoy this type of video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and the notification bell if you haven't already. It really helps support the channel, helps support the video, and helps support the channel grow and continue. I said that twice, but it really does help to make videos like this possible. So thank you so much. Now let's dive into Nemesis Immortal. All right, so let's take a quick look at this box. Nemesis Immortal was released as a Hasbro Pulse exclusive for $45 US, which honestly feels totally fine for how big and huge he is. You can see he is marked Cobra, of course, because he's part of Cobra-La, the secret snake society. Here is the artwork on the side of the box. Very nice profile. He's number 140 in the series. On the other side, you get more of an expanded look and a QR code that basically leads nowhere. And then on the back, you can see kind of a cool diorama display of Nemesis Immortal flying away from Cobra Commander, who has been trapped and captured for his incompetence. And what's kind of neat about this is it matches the box for the Once a Man Cobra Commander, where it showed him in that trap, and Nemesis Immortal in the distance, and also Globulus, who I hope we get to see, because Globulus is kind of like a weird, wacky design, but I'm all here for the Cobra-La stuff, especially because the recent Energon Universe comics have been using Cobra-La quite heavily. So, kind of neat packaging similarities. They even have like a similar like texture pattern. But let's get into the figure itself. All right, so here he is. I'm going to remove his wings for now, just so we can kind of look at the base figure before we get into like the crazy accessory parts. But here he is. He is massive, and he is a fully unique sculpt. So nothing on him has been reused because of his size and his detail. You can see we've got this really nice like snake skin look over his face, the chest details, like the dragon scale armor look. He's incredibly muscular. He is a very well-built enforcer. Yeah, his name was originally Nemesis Enforcer in G.I. Joe the movie and the original toy line, but he has been renamed to Nemesis Immortal. I imagine that's a trademarking thing, but I kind of dig Nemesis Immortal as a name because it makes him like really intimidating, kind of like he is immortal and you can't truly beat him. They did add these two sword sheaths on the side. That's part of like the new design elements that Classified does, which I love that they have kind of a unique identity. And then the legs down here look really nice as well, down to the clawed feet. Same with the back. Everything's so nicely painted and so nicely sculpted on this guy. It's really impressive. The other part that's really impressive is his size. So here he is, and here is an average Joe. So let's pop Duke off of his stand. I kind of wish that Hasbro would sell like packs of like 20 of these stands. I'd put them on every figure. But you can see next to Duke, he's a lot taller, a lot bulkier, a lot beefier, which is really, really awesome. Here is Cobra Commander as well, to kind of bring him in as a side-by-side. So you can kind of see that he is going to tower over pretty much anybody, and I think that's awesome because I really do love that as the scale for Nemesis here. And let's also compare him to some other larger figures. So here we have Sergeant Slaughter, who went toe-to-toe with Nemesis, and Serpentor, who is part of the Cobra-La group as well. So you can kind of see Serpentor hits about the same height, height-wise overall. Not as bulky as Nemesis. He is a lot thicker. And Slaughter, of course, is a little bit shorter, but with his hat, he takes the cake. But Sergeant Slaughter doesn't need to be the biggest or the tallest to still take him down, because he's Sergeant Slaughter. But you can kind of see the size scaling between a couple of the larger figures. I believe Serpentor has been our tallest, biggest figure so far, and Nemesis Enforcer, while he is about the same height, he is a lot thicker and bulkier. Especially when we get his wings on him, he's going to be larger than Serpentor on his own. So that's kind of an idea of how big he is. But how does he articulate? Well, let's see. He's got pretty much the same range of joints that any other figure has. He's got a ball-jointed neck. It has trouble looking up and down because it is on that barbell system. So if you want to get him into like straight ahead flying poses, you're not going to get that. But if he's like flying in from above, looking down on everybody, that's going to work. Shoulders, they move out. They 360 because the shoulder pad is connected to the top of the shoulder, so it moves with the shoulder, which is preferable. Bicep swivel, you've got a double jointed elbow. It's very stiff on mine. I've been trying to heat it up, but we got hit with like snow overnight, so that was fun. And then he's got a glove rotation plus a wrist swivel, and these wrists that move up and down. He also does have a forward and back butterfly hinge that moves, fairly well. He's got an upper torso ball joint and a lower torso ball joint to kind of adjust and articulate, not like a straight ab crunch by any means. He's got his hips, they move down so they can kick forward. They can move a little bit back, they can move out. You can move the thigh swivels. You also got a double jointed knee, which goes like this, which is great. And then a forward and back ankle, as well as the side to side. So pretty good. He's got, the standard range. A little bit is restrictive due to his bulk, but not too much, which is pretty good overall. What's also cool is that he is not limited to just these accessories. He does come with a pair of fists. These fists, of course, are just his hands, but curled up into fists, so they're not able to hold things, but you can have those. I don't really feel like swapping those in, because I kind of like him having these gripping hands, especially when we get involved with the weapons on his legs here. But what is cool is if you want to kind of have a matching armor to his shoulder armor and his arm blades, you can pop the head off, and he does come with a second head, which contains more of an armored helmet look. So you got kind of your options. This is more classic. This is more, he's ready for battle. And I kind of like the way that looks. I like the visual symmetry with him. This still looks good, but I kind of prefer this head overall, which is pretty nice. I think that it makes for a much more interesting look personally, but they do give you the option, which I appreciate. Also, like I mentioned, he does have these swords. These swords are pretty cool. So you can see pretty much the sword here with the red parts through it. Look like they're kind of bleeding, which is really neat. And you can give them these swords to hold. It does, because of the hook, you kind of feel like you want to put them this way, which, I mean, you totally can. And they do fit, but they are supposed to go about like this with the finger going in the guard like that. And so then you got a couple pairs of swords, or a couple pair of swords. Couple of swords, that's what I'm trying to say. But I think this looks great. I think giving him like a melee weapon fits. Previously he just kind of threw dudes around with his strength, but I think giving him swords gives him a little bit more interesting poses to do with him, which I think is super awesome, and I'm really into it. So just like with the vintage toy, Nemesis Immortal here comes with two sets of backpacks. This first one are the bat wings. These are what we saw in the G.I. Joe the movie back in '87, or later on DVD if you're me and younger. G.I. Joe the movie, of course, introducing these characters, but we saw them with the bat wings. And what's kind of interesting is that the bat wings before were done like bird wings. This time they're actually done like bat wings, where they have like the Batwing arms. Let's actually move them out of the way. It's screwing with the autofocus. So they actually do have like this full thing. They're partially transparent on the wings. You've got the same kind of shoulder armor detail. And these are fully articulated. So it kind of has a little forward back. It's a little stiff. It's not really too much. It's just slight adjustment. You can bend them down and up, rotates. This part bends out and down and rotates. So it's really cool. I think the bat wings before, they looked like bird wings, like I said, on the original. But this time, I think it works out pretty good that they actually function like bat wings. So you kind of get some options there. And they do have a lot of pivot and adjust, which I like. I like kind of having it like this. You can, of course, splay them out completely like this, which I think is kind of neat as well if you want to give them a huge wingspan, make them really big. And the other interesting part, too, is that this runs off of the universal backpack plug. So that means if you have any figure, you can basically plug these on to their backpack if you want to give, like, Cobra Commander giant bat wings, which I think is kind of fun and kind of cool to do. But, of course, we need to put them on Nemesis himself. So let's just get it plugged in like that. Pretty nice and easy. Like I said, it's, it's going to give him a huge wingspan if you have him fully splayed out like that. Like that. That's pretty large. That's pretty large. Once again, Cobra Commander for scale. That's a pretty large beastly figure. What I do kind of prefer is to have them a little bit closed up just to make it, still big and intimidating, but not like oversized, but I do really like the way that those work. And I think that is such a cool, I love the redesign because it makes it more natural, more realistic, which kind of fits with Classified, kind of grounding these characters in some ways. And then if that's not enough, you also get the tentacle backpack, which the original vintage toy also had. Every one of these is a bendy wire tentacle, so you can kind of pose them however you wish, you know, kind of an attack pattern like that. Pretty much works for me, and it just plugs straight on to his back here. Now I realize that, you know, he's got his arm blades kind of clashing. That's the one thing, you know, you got to be careful with the arm blades because they could warp, I think, if you like leave the figure laying down. But you got kind of the tentacle look, snake tentacles. It doesn't make any sense. They got suckers on them. It doesn't really fit with the snake themes as much, but I kind of dig it. It's a neat option, and since it is, again, on the universal backpack peg, you can plug it onto anything. Personally, I'm going to stick with the wings, but I like that they still gave you the two options that the original toy had as well, which I think is a nice benefit to this figure. So to answer the question I proposed at the beginning of the video, is this the best G.I. Joe Classified figure ever made? Well, personally speaking, I think maybe yes, because for 45 bucks, you get a really solid, really cool looking figure. So much detail, so much paint, lots of options, and everything that's appropriate for the character, and then some. I personally really like what we have here. I think it's a pretty good bang for your buck, especially in the current action figure market. And he's such a cool figure that he will stand out on your G.I. Joe shelf or any other shelf because of how striking he is. Now, that may be different for everybody. Some people may not like the Cobra-La characters, some people may not like Nemesis Immortal, and that will skew in that favor. G.I. Joe's been doing a lot of great figures this year, like this Cobra Commander that I didn't expect to have the chromed face. Even before years, I thought Serpentor was pretty fantastic. I do think I have more fun posing Nemesis than I do Serpentor, but maybe that's because I keep posing Serpentor on the Chariot. But I think that both of them are super high quality releases. And I think overall what's really nice is that between this and the Once a Man Cobra Commander, they have acknowledged that G.I. Joe the movie is awesome. Because for me, I've always really enjoyed the more supernaturally sci-fi elements of like the origin of Cobra Commander being tied to the secret society of Cobra-La, and I've always wanted to see more toy versions of that. And I own Snake Cobra Commander as a figure now, and that's something I didn't expect. See, because the thing is, and this is always a common misconception, Cobra Commander isn't actually a snake man originally. He's just part of Cobra-La, which are like these kind of weird snake people. But he didn't look like this until they mutated him. And so it's nice to have the mutated form of that, because he obviously doesn't look the same as his Cobra-La brethren. And what's also cool, too, is that I think the appearance of Nemesis Immortal in this line is even better because in the Cobra Commander comic, he plays a big part in the current G.I. Joe Transformers Energon universe. And because of that, I feel like it sort of justifies this figure even more so than we're just doing a throwback to the 87 movie. The fact that we actually have new lore and new connections to Cobra-La. There's probably a lot of people whose first G.I. Joe experience is the Energon universe and knows how awesome Nemesis Immortal is from that Cobra Commander comic. And if you haven't picked that up, it's a solid, solid book. I really did enjoy it. And so the thing with this figure as well is that because they were making a new figure of him, the comic writers and artists wanted to put him in, and the artist got to use this design. It's kind of where we're starting to see Classified is influencing the Energon universe, and maybe the Energon universe will influence Classified. This is a really cool time for G.I. Joe. It's one where we don't have a big movie or a big TV show, but we're just getting really solid stuff. Really great comics, really great figures, and I want this to keep going as long as it can. Can't last forever, but let's enjoy it while it's here, and a release like Nemesis Immortal is just another subplant onto this line is awesome. This line is just great. I was feeling a little burned out this year with G.I. Joe because of how many releases we've gotten recently, and I'm behind on several ways, but getting a figure like this just like amped me up. It made me excited about the line again, and it makes me want to go and catch up on the figures I want that I have missed out on. And that is, I think, something special. I also will say this is 100% biased because he's been in my top 3 once of the line since it began. But now that the itch has been scratched, I want to see more Cobra-La people. I want to see Globulus. I want to see Weird Snake Ninja Girl. I would love to see more Cobra-La, and I hope that as they continue to appear in the Energon universe, that ups their chances of getting figures. And that does it for this video. I just wanted to talk about this. This toy was really exciting and really fun and invigorating, and I wanted to share that with everybody out there. If you did enjoy this and you haven't already, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe and notification bell. Stay tuned, as I will be, of course, doing a G.I. Joe rundown for 2024, covering all the releases in one video like I do every year, and that should be a good time. I won't let it be as delayed as it was last year. That took a little bit longer than it should have. I'm going to get things out more on time this time, I think. And this figure just will be a highlight. It's probably my favorite figure of the year, but we'll see what happens. There's still another month or so to go, and I still need to pick up several figures, but likely he is my favorite of the year, which is why I gave him the special spotlight. On that note, if you want to keep up with the channel, join our Discord server in the link below. You can get alerts every time a new video is posted. Also, keep up with our live streams every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you want to help support the channel directly to continue future video productions, join as a channel member. You can get perks like early access to videos, there's member-exclusive live streams, and special shoutouts. Let's get some special shoutouts to our current channel members. Special shout out to all of our channel members, including our captain tiers: Spin-54, Toe McKay, Masturbed95, Jamie's World, Forever1000, Toast Rave, Brenton Yadden, Mr. Smelly Potato, GV2186, Silver Bricks, Richard, K Breezy, Tranzilla Jack, Super Robozilla Go, Gil Roland's Kingdom, Nomo Toka, Oni Onichan, David Johnson, Sketchosaur Res, and Ruben Abrego. Thank you all for your support. You can find me, if you so wish, across most social media, but I am more active on Discord. You can find my autograph designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643, and you can find Hero Club at HeroClub.com for entertainment news, reviews, and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, Cobra!